Hi everyone, in this video we will be looking at two of the fundamental CSS properties, margin and padding. We will start with a basic animation to show the difference between the two properties and then look at the code. So let's get started. So here we have a single element on the page, which has a border on all four sides. Let's just say this is a paragraph element with some text inside it. The padding property would be defined as the space between the border and the content of the element. In this case, the content is the text. So by increasing or decreasing the padding, you can move the text closer or farther from the border. On the other hand, the margin property would be defined as the space between the border and the element next to it. So increasing or decreasing the margin value will give you more or less space between the elements. Let's take a look at the code to get a better understanding. So I have already created three files. One is the HTML file, one is for the examples we will be looking at, and the last is to add some style to these two divs which make things easier to see. You don't need to worry about this file. So in this example, we will be adding both padding and margin to both of the div elements in the HTML file. Going to our style page, you can see that there are selectors for both the div1 and div2 classes. Let's first add 30 pixels of padding to each of the four sides of div1. The property we will be using is padding top, and we are setting the value to 30 pixels. Next is the right padding. So padding right 30 pixels, then bottom, padding bottom 30 pixels, and finally padding left 30 pixels. If we save this and refresh the page, we will see that div1 is now much larger. This is because there is a 30 pixel padding between the content and the border of the element on all four sides. If we go into the inspector, we can see a green box around the element content. This is the padding we just added. Now let's add a 30 pixel margin to the element. We do this just like we did the padding. Margin top 30 pixels, margin right 30 pixels, margin bottom 30 pixels, and margin left 30 pixels. We can save this and refresh the page again, and now there is a 30 pixels of extra white space around the element. This is the margin we just added. Looking at the element in the inspector shows us margin around the element in orange. Typing all 8 of these lines for every element that you want to set the margin and padding for will make your style sheet very full, very fast. Luckily, there is some shorthand notations for typing these properties. Using these shorthand notations, we can make div2 have the same padding and margin values in just 2 lines as opposed to 8. For padding, we just have to type padding 30 pixels, and this will set the padding of all four sides to 30 pixels. And we can do the same for margin. Now if we refresh the page, div1 and div2 will have the same margin and padding values. Another useful shorthand notation is going padding 30 pixels, 10 pixels. This will set the top and bottom padding to 30 pixels and the right and left padding to 10 pixels. The same will work for margin. If we refresh the page and then look at the element in the inspector again, it will show us that the top and bottom padding is 30 pixels and the right and left padding are 10 pixels, just as we expected. Now if we want to set all four sides of the element with different padding values, you can type padding, then 10 pixels, 20 pixels, 30 pixels, and 40 pixels, which will follow the order top, right, bottom, left. So the top will be 10 pixels, the right will be 20 pixels, the bottom will be 30 pixels, and the left will be 40 pixels. Let's check it out in the inspector now. There we go, we can see that all four sides look to be different padding values. Just like the other shorthand notations, you can do the same thing for margin. I should note that the values for both margin and padding can be length, percentage, auto, or inherit. The auto value tells the browser to automatically pick the margin or padding value for you, and the inherent value will just get the margin or padding value from its parent element. Well, that is it for this video. Make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date on my newest videos. Thanks for watching.